Aunt Caroline here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Today is Friday, April 19th, 1985, and I'm talking with Aunt Caroline in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Taking pictures.
Yeah. Well, this
Is that your grandfather?
No. That's Uncle Alec's father.
Oh, yeah, Joe Barona.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know. Yeah, I can remember him.
Yeah, he's a
He
nice
lived
looking
to be
man.
almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was slim all his life. Drank, and never was drunk.
Is that right?
He used to go in weddings and all that. My uncle Joseph used to laying on the ground, dead, drunk, and he says, "Look at the damn fool! Look at him!" And he has as many drinks as the other guy that's on the ground already. The liquor didn't upset him at all. His mind was still good. He had all kinds of drinks during the day. You never knew he had a drink.
Well, he worked hard.
Yeah.
He probably burned it off.
Oh, yeah.
This article talks about how he came here with the milk business and the farm burned in 1932.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, Mrs. Baronas, assisted by her youngest daughter Caroline, has a full day in keeping house and preparing meals for her large family.
Yeah.
And Bill, who is the father of twins, Charles and Johnny, live nearby.
Yeah.
And I thought that was nice. My mother saved that in the scrapbook.
I don't know any Bill's children at all. Veronica's, I only remember the daughter that she had.
Yes.
But she had other children that I don't know.
Bill's boys are built like that.
Yeah? Yeah. Veronica, what?
That is the first house my mother wrote in. Grandpa Cummins and his mother lived in this house for a short while. This was in Sunderland.
Yeah.
Right by Alice's house.
Yeah.
And they burned that down a little while ago, but we took a piece of wood so we could have it for a souvenir.
Yeah.
And that was a famous Silas Wright house.
Yeah.
And it was built in 1966.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember being there.
Do you really?
Yeah. Sure.
So when you came from Lithuania, you lived in that house with your mother and...
We had one room. We slept in one room. Mother and father, your father and myself. I remember sleeping in the crib.
Is that right?
11 years old, sleeping in the crib. I couldn't straighten. I had to be like this, you know.
You were 11 years old when you came from Lithuania?
Yeah.
Wow. And you never went to school in Lithuania, did you?
No, there's no such a thing as school in Lithuania when I was there.
Yeah.
Especially women. They said women don't need education. They need education to keep house.
Yeah.
That's a Russian.
Well, what did your father do for a living over there? How did you live?
In Europe?
Yes.
He lived on the land. He had a piece of land, and he had to live on it.
Farming?
Farming. Raised food so we could have food year round.
Yeah.
That's all.
What did you do for clothes?
You made your own clothes. My mother made weave the cloth, and made clothes for herself.
Wow.
No money to buy anything, dear.
How did you cook?
She cooked whatever it was.
No, what kind? A stove of some oven? Or?
Clay stove. Big clay stove with the oven and like that. And then everything was cooked in that clay stove.
I see.
They had a fire going in the clay stove. Wood, they burned wood. And a clay stove, and it was hot on top there too. And everything was cooked in that stove.
And you had well water? Is that how you got your water?
Yeah. No running water in the house.
Yeah.
No toilets.
Yeah.
You had to go in the back just and I go to the bathroom. no toilet paper, no nothing. So you can imagine.
Well, Uncle, let me see, this would be Joe Baronas was already in the United States.
You mean this man?
Yes.
Oh, long before we came.
Yeah.
He was already a pretty good farmer there, a well-to-do farmer.
Uh-huh. So how did you leave Lithuania? How did you manage to go?
My sister Mary and my father sent for us. They sent for us to come to America.
I see.
My father
Let me write.
and my sister Mary.
Okay.
That's how we came. We came
Wow.
1905, I think, 1903 or 5.
Well, your father, James
John.
Your father, John, came to the
First.
United States, and he stayed with Baronases?
No, yes, he stayed with this family here.
Yeah.
And he works on the farm.
Uh-huh.
Then my sister and my father sent for my mother and your father.
I see. How did your father come to America? Did he send money to him to come over on a boat?
I think they did. They sent for him. Yeah. So
And you were
a few years after they sent for us.
so. Let me see. You were 11 years old.
Yeah.
We can trace that back in the year's time. Do you remember anything about your grandmother or grandfather?
I remember seeing my grandfather. I was only about 5 years old, so I don't remember too good.
Yeah.
Remember a little bit of a man, but a very sweet little man. He was, what they call him, at his time, Napoleon was ruling Lithuania.
Yes.
Way back. So my grandfather was a slave for this big rancher, Polish rancher. Had a lot of land, and had a lot of men working. He never got paid. All he got is something to eat. My grandfather. That was way back. Yeah. Then this big rancher had a woman working there for him. And so I guess he want to get rid of her, so he says to my grandfather, he says, I want you to marry her. Grandfather couldn't say no. So he married the woman. Yeah. So that's how it happened.
I see.
Then they had 4 girls, 2 boys and 3 girls.
That was after.
Long before my time.
Oh, okay. So this woman he married, was that your mother?
No, my grandmother.
Oh, grandmother. Okay. And they're buried in Lithuania.
Oh,
Your
yes.
grandparents.
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah.
So when you came, I can remember some of the things in the family. My mother had some things up in her attic, furniture. Did the furniture come over?
No, that your mother bought it because she used to like antique furniture.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. All that furniture, she bought it because she liked the antiques. Your mother did.
So actually you just came over with whatever you had for clothes.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And then you lived with the Baronas family?
Yeah, I lived with him for a while until we found a place to live, so we went to live in here.
I see.
Yeah.
The house by Alice's house.
Yeah. So then after that, my father bought the place where you were born.
In North Amherst.
Yes, yeah.
Slab City.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's how we got started. Bought a place in North Amherst there. It was just sort of a duplex, 2 families.
It still is, Auntie.
Yeah.
Still is duplex.
Yeah. So that's how it happened there. I lived there until I was about 14, 15 years old. And I said to Mother, Mother, there's no future here for me. I can't be working in the field all my life. I gotta better myself. I have to do something. Mother starts crying. She says, I don't want you to go. Mother, I says, I have to go on my own because what kind of life am I going to have here? So I left for Springfield.
Springfield?
Yeah,
That was a big step.
Huh?
That was a big step.
Oh, you didn't come to Amherst first to work in the hat factory?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah. But I'm way ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked in the hat shop. I didn't know how to put a button on when I went there.
They taught
But
you.
they showed me how to do it, and I put a band on the hat, men's hat.
Where did you live in Amherst?
Same place where you were born.
Oh, you went back to North Amherst. I see.
A trolley car, used to take trolley car
darn.
to get off at the center there and go to work in Burnett's hat shop.
Henry knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long were you there?
Well, about 6 or 7 years, but they had a season works there.
Yeah.
We only worked in the winter. Summer they used to close the place because they already had all the hats they made already for the summer. So I used to be out of work in the summertime. I used to go to my sisters, Mary and Helen. I lived there. They never charged me nothing. I lived there. I was in my glory. I was happy.
Sure.
Yeah, and the kids were growing up. The boys were growing up.
What did your father, John, when he came to the United States and he bought this house in North Amherst, was he a farmer here?
Yeah, that's all he knew.
Was it in North Amherst he had a farm or somewhere
No,
else?
he never had farm. He worked for other people all the time.
Oh, I see.
He worked for the farmers.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
And what is the story about Worcester? Now, I know Daddy said he lived in Worcester for a little while.
My mother did.
Oh, yeah.
After what happened, she moved away to Worcester. She left. My father was in prison, shooting that man.
Yes.
Poor Henry Estrellich.
Yeah.
Terrible there. Yeah, my mother got mixed up with this man, and so my father shot him. So then he went to jail in Boston.
Yes.
And my mother got in wrong again with this other man. So she went to live in Worcester, get away from the people that she knew there.
Sure.
And she lived in Worcester quite a while
Uh-huh.
until father was ready to come home. So she was afraid of that. She came back to live with my father again.
Oh. Well, who is Aunt Anne's father? Was it the boarder that grandmother took in a boarder, and it was the boarder that is Aunt Anne's father? Because Aunt Anne told me one time she had a picture of a man holding her when she was a little baby, and she can't find that picture. I'd love to see it.
It was on the dresser for a long time.
Yeah, I never
That
saw the
was her
picture.
father.
I see.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And they stayed together until grandfather died? Your father, John? How did he die?
He dropped dead in the fields. They found him in the field. He went out to get the cows, bring the cows to be milked. So they found him in the field dead. He dropped dead in the field.
Heart attack?
Yeah.
Heart attack.
He had a heart attack for years. Nobody knew about it. He never
dear.
told
Those
anyone.
days you don't.
Your father inherited it too. Yeah.
When your mother left North Amherst and went to Worcester,
Yeah.
how did she work there? I mean, she had Aunt Anne, so with a little
He
baby.
was supporting my mother.
Oh, I
The
see.
boy, the man was
I
supporting my mother.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, they had a department.
Apartment?
Apartment.